these are our pumps here.
Okay.
As you can see, they're installed. The motors have not been installed yet. Essentially, there'll be 4 of them. There's 2 down there that they're still working on. That's why the Horde is over the top of it. Off in the distance over there, you can see what we call our VFD building, our variable frequency drive building. It's a concrete building right there.
That's for the electronics, right?
Yep. And then to the right
Switches.
of it, yep, the right of it is actually the switch, electrical service building, ESB building. Inside of there is the communications, the computers, and everything that actually run the facility. Coming around here, you see what we call our suction and discharge valves, mainline block valves there. So that's actually the pipeline. It comes above grade, just for that short area right there. You can see the horns going back down into the ground.
Right.
It comes above grade for that to come into the station, and then she goes back down on the ground.
So that's actually where it comes in right there?
Yep. Yep.
And then how does it go back in?
So if you can see, there's actually 2 pipes going in there. So on the one side, the oil would come in, go through these pumps.
Okay.
And then it loops back out.
Oh, then it loops back out.
Right here, and goes back, and then onto the pipeline right there.
Oh, it loops all the way back here.
Yep. So it goes through each one of these pumps.
Oh yeah, that
each
makes
one
sense.
of these pumps pumps it up, pumps it up, pumps it up, pumps it
Okay.
up, and then it goes back into the pipeline at a higher velocity and continues down.
Okay. So you basically have one inlet, one outlet.
Yep, exactly.
And then,
yep.
but you have 4 pumps.
Yep.
So.
Yep. These are all connected together in
Take a
series.
video of that. Yep. Oh yeah, this is their own series here. It's the 4 different pumps.
Yep.
Oh. 40, and is that 42 inch?
This is 36-inch pipe.
Okay.
So whenever we come into a station, you go to a little bit smaller diameter pipe than your mainline pipe.
Okay.
A little bit, and it also goes to a little bit thicker wall because you're seeing a little higher pressures inside here. But we saw that at the Line 6 station also, where you get inside, it's smaller than the 34-inch mainline.
Okay. Now I was kind of curious. When we got here, you were talking about that there are berms and there are
So it's kind
depressions here.
It's very hard to see right now.
Yeah,
just
it's
with
white,
the snow,
but yeah.
obviously. But you're looking all the way along here, and then coming along all the way around the facility. There's berms that are approximately 24 to 6 foot tall, 24 inches to 6 foot tall, and those berms are inside of that bermed area is lined with a high-density polyethylene liner, similar to a landfill.
So it's like a retaining pond.
Yep. So it turns into a retaining pond. Should there ever be a leak here, it would be contained within inside of that bermed area, and then our operations group would be out here immediately to clean it up.
Will there be berms all the way around?
Yep, there are berms going all the way around.
Okay.
It's very hard to see, but if you look on our grading and drainage plan,
yeah. It's hard to see now.
Yep, everything kind of comes down to this side, and that's why the berms are the highest over here.
Right.
They're a lot shallower on that end of the site. So.
Can we see anything? Can we go down here?
Sure. Yes. Just watch out for the where we've got.
I got my steel toe shoes on here.
Yeah. Steel toes don't protect you from a fall.
No, that's right. Right. So wow. And it takes 6,000 volts to run one of these, right?
No, there's 6,000 horsepower.
6,000 horsepower. Yeah.
So each one of these motors, when installed, will be 6,000 horsepower.
6,000 horsepower. And what we saw earlier was 4,000.
Those Line 6 is 2,500, I believe.
Oh.
Yep.
So these are 6,000 horsepower.
So these are double the size.
Well, this is just a pump here, but you don't actually have the motor yet.
No, the motors are in crates right now. We have to keep them warm until we get them all actually powered up.
So you get to.
Yep.
So they must be working on one right now.
Yeah. So actually, what they're working on here is the pumps actually get epoxy grouted to the bases down to the concrete because it's all concrete going down. So these bases here get connected via epoxy grout. We have to do that in a warm.
And these are like the individual regulators. These things right here. We saw in the other ones.
These are valves.
Valves.
So what these would be for is if we ever needed to take a pump out of service to work on it or so, you could close this valve and that valve, and you'd isolate this pump from the main line. This would be the fourth pump.
Fourth pump. Wow. And so, this is kind of cool. What is that area called right there? It looks like that's got its own kind of...
Right there, it's what we call our mainline valve cluster.
Okay.
So that big valve right there, that 42-inch that you're seeing in the center right there, is actually on the main pipeline right there. In normal operation of this pumping facility, that would be closed to force oil through the facility, so it goes through the pumps.
In the middle,
yep,
you're talking. Yeah.
Right there. And then these two valves on either side are suction on that side, and then discharge on that side. So
I see you have
those would be open.
You have some valves out there too. Yep. You can control it.
Yep.
Oh.
And then you've got right here would be a check valve right here. This essentially is a big flapper door valve to prevent any backflow,
Oh.
so that you always keep the flow going in the right
Sure.
direction.
So, tell me, like, as far as a station like this, is this state of the art? Would you say, or
I would
pretty much,
definitely say that industry standard. This is above industry standard and state of the art.
Okay. What makes it state of the art? I mean, above.
VFD is one thing.
What?
Our VFDs,
VFDs, he can
variable
talk about.
frequency drives.
Oh,
So what I was talking about are variable frequency
Over
drives,
here.
where we can control the motors from just being on. We can ramp them up, ramp them down, or run them at 40%. We can run them with inside of a power band. Really,
Yeah.
that's state of the art. The metering that we're putting in here, as far as our leak detection metering, is
Yeah.
definitely state of the art.
Okay.
We've worked with the metering manufacturers to develop really the most accurate meters that you can put out on these facilities,
Okay.
and we're constantly improving them. These are an improvement over what were installed 2 years ago on a project. We're always constantly working on that. Our pumps, actually, we work with, these come from Portland, Washington. Sulzer, so made in the USA. We work directly with Sulzer to develop this pump. There are no other pumps like this in the United States other than installed on this project.
Okay.
Not necessarily Stone Lake, but the Line 61 project.
So
overall.
is most of this metal? Was it cast in the U.S. then? Is it US?
Most of our pipeline is created in Canada, just over the
Canada.
border.
Okay.
Yep.
It's recycled North American steel.
Enbridge is a Canadian company.
Well, but we,
Right.
there's a lot of opportunity for back and forth trade.
Yeah,
you
right.
know,
I'm just kidding.
U.S.
Actually,
and
the
Canada.
castings here for our
Right.
motors were done in the U.S.
Okay.
Or for our pumps here, those
Yeah.
were done out in Washington. So those castings are U.S. Base plate steel was U.S.
Okay.
The main piping was overseas, was Canada, like I said.
Okay.
Obviously, all of your structural steel that comes all out of central Wisconsin is where it's all fabricated.
Oh,
Most of
really?
your steel is from,
The constructional steel came out of central Wisconsin.
But,
What?
It's fabricated in central
Oh, it's
Wisconsin.
fabricated.
It comes
Okay.
out of Gary and out of
Oh, okay.
the steel mills down in Chicago
Okay,
region.
right.
And and those steel mills would have taken iron ore from the Iron Range in Minnesota or
Right.
Any
Right.
mine around here. So it's all one big circle.
And we were mentioning too. We got XL's got a substation out here, and the big one that's XL, and then the smaller one.
Yep. So
To the south.
the smaller one is actually the one that would take the transmission line power. So we don't pull off of your local residential grids. We pull
Okay.
directly off transmission level power. So we take and they'll pull off of their power lines there, and we'll step it down. We have a large transformer
All right.
down there that'll
And
step it
feeds
down
to
to
that station,
Yep, to essentially 5 kV is what we run our
which
pumps
runs
off
this
of.
place.
Yep, comes through these big
All right.
heavy wires.
Wow, it's quite an operation. It's a 30 million plus operation. Right?
Approximately, just over 30 million.
It's Stone
per
Lake. Who would have
station.
thought?
Yep.
Yeah, out in the middle of it, little Stone Lake. What a big project. It's like building a high school.